I'll move on to the next segment. Trending up and down. So pretty much we're just gonna be discussing and breaking down teams so far that have been either trending up or trending down. We're now in the point of the season where we kind of got a good read on all these teams. They played about 8 to 10 games every team has played. So starting off, we really kind of touched on it already. Arizona and Michigan, kind of 1A and 1B. We kind of already touched on it. So anything you guys have left to say about these two teams?
I
Um,
hate that they're so good.
yeah. No, yeah, this is like Frico's two most hated teams right now. It's kind of funny. But yeah, Braden Burries, the other day, 20 points, second half against Bama. Finally arrived. He kind of was off to a slow start at the beginning of the year, but then now he's starting to get that groove. Just dropped a light 20 in the second half. And that was crazy because Cole Pete kind of had an off day. So it was nice for him to step up. So that's another piece of the puzzle that you got to kind of be concerned about if you're going to face Arizona. And that just makes them just that much better. So,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, both these teams are elite and have been running through teams. Michigan had some close games early in the year, and I mean they've turned into like the Monstars since. But and I don't know, maybe there is a world where they do come back down to earth a
Monsters.
little
Right.
bit. We haven't seen necessarily the same kind of flaws, or not even flaws, but Arizona's been throughout the entirety of the season much more dominant than Michigan. I don't think Arizona's really played a close game, like at least not a close game against a team that they're supposed to beat by a wide margin, like Michigan did earlier with TCU and Wake Forest. So I feel like they just feel very consistent. They've been talented over the years under Tommy Lloyd, but I think they're super just calm in a way, if that makes sense. They do what they're supposed to do. Guys are able to step up. They're a really just well-oiled machine. Last couple of years when they had Caleb Love, he was kind of erratic. You had some hot and cold where they just feel super leveled out. They don't rely too much on outside scoring. They're big, they're athletic, they play well together. I mean, I hate saying it, but between both these teams, they've been incredibly impressive. And I don't know really when either their first loss is going to come. I know Michigan kind of has a little bit of a break until I think I saw Matt Norlander say he doesn't think
Mhm.
they're losing until like February, based on their schedule. So yeah.
Right. I think you guys pretty much said it. Braden Burries has pretty much arrived to Arizona. Like you said, Preco, Arizona, they're so balanced. They're super deep. And I think you made a great point about how they're just super calm. I think that kind of starts with like, their captain, Jaden Bradley, a guy who's
Mhm.
been, really great in crunch time. Like I think that you mentioned they're really big. They are like one of the best rebounding teams in the country. I was looking at the Torvik stats, and then I saw a tweet like Toby Awaka, um, he's an animal down low. They have really great size, and like you said, their 3-point rate is one of the lowest in the country. I think it's the lowest out of all like high major teams. Like they really don't
I believe it. Yeah.
rely on it. Yeah. So and then with Michigan, I think my thoughts on them is like ever since like we had our concerns about them, funnily enough, like they like
They
it's like
just
perfect
shut us
timing.
up.
Right.
Yeah, they
Exactly.
should just shut us up. They saw the
So yeah,
vids,
that's
bro.
right. Exactly. I think they did. So yeah, but it's pretty much 1A, 1B. In terms of Michigan, I feel like the only thing they do have a trip to the Pacific Northwest in like mid-January, which maybe could give
Okay.
them trouble. They don't go to
Mhm.
the LA schools, but like you said, you made a point before Preco, like those West Coast trips, so like those cross country trips, sometimes they're trap games. So maybe we'll see.
Mhm.
Um, and yeah, moving on to another top 5 team, Yukon Huskies. We kind of touched on them already, but any thoughts on them so far? They're trending up as well. They had some nice wins over the past couple of weeks over Kansas on the road, Florida on a neutral site, and Texas at home. Currently 10-1. What are your guys' thoughts on the Huskies?
No, yeah, they've been great. They've been kind of as advertised. They just lost that close game to Arizona. But other than that, yeah, they've been great. I love Silas Demery. He's a great guard for them. Alex Caravans, great for them, always has been. And then their big guy, was it Taryn or Terrace Reed, right?
Terrace Reed. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a dog. So yeah, they've just been doing their thing. They face Butler, what is it, in 2 days, who currently leads the Big East, actually, 1-0 in the conference, so shout out to Butler. Um, yeah, so but yeah, they're
Yeah,
a really good team, so.
right. One of the
Yeah,
funnier things I see on Twitter is like, people are like, "How's the air down there?" After like like they're like 1-0. So
That's funny.
yeah, so yeah,
I think with UConn, they're not as like everybody's talking about Michigan and Arizona, rightfully so. Duke is getting up there too because they haven't lost and they played a tough schedule too. But I think UConn really because they don't have that flawless record, they thought of as a tier below. But their only loss was to Arizona, and they did not have Terrace Reed, who, with him, maybe that game goes differently, maybe it doesn't. But then, they didn't have Berlin Mullins either, and he's back, and I think so. When with UConn healthy, they, in my mind, are absolutely on that same tier with Michigan and Arizona. I think I would take all three of those in terms of like I would take all three of those over Duke on a neutral site. Those are my top three when healthy, just in terms of not necessarily looking at resume or anything, but just how good I think they are when they're clicking. And yeah, you're absolutely right, trending in the right direction. They've played a good schedule. They have some key wins. They're battle tested going into the now not super deep Big East this year. I don't think anyone really comes close to them in that conference this year. Especially with St. John's kind of underperforming so far. But yeah, they're in a good position.
right. I think I agree with everything you guys said. Super UConn's super balanced, super deep, especially when you compare them to maybe some other teams in that top 10. And I like that point you made. If they played Duke, I think I would favor them too. I don't know how Duke fans would react to that, but even their bench has given them some great contributions. Malachi Smith, Eric Riba, in Terrace Reed's absence, he was super good. And like you said, Braylon Mullins coming back, he's been great. Just another chess piece to add. Um, so yeah, super deep. And like you said, I don't think anyone's going to really test them, honestly, in the Big East. They're probably going to drop a couple games. Obviously conference play things can get weird, but yeah, I think they should probably run away with the conference. And yeah, they're dangerous. Super well coached. So yeah. Moving on to another team, kind of segueing that into Duke, um, trending up. They've currently undefeated, currently 10-0. Over the past couple of weeks, they added a win over Florida at home, and then Michigan State on the road. The game you were at, Brandon. Both
Mhm.
actually really close games. Duke has played some pretty close games so far, and they've been able to pull them out. Um, but yeah, what are your guys' thoughts on Duke so far?
No, yeah, Duke's a great squad, but I don't think they can really, like we mentioned earlier,
Mhm.
they can't rely heavily that much on Cameron Boozer come March and all that, because teams are going to give you different looks on defense, and they're um gonna take Cam Boozer away, and they're gonna have to try to find another way to score. So yeah, I'm kind of getting worrisome about that, and guard play also is kind of a concern. Isaiah Evans kind of cooled off, but he's still there a little bit. Caleb Foster
Right.
also is not the best at he's not a very good scoring point guard, I would say. Um, so yeah, there's some concerns with Duke, but they're still a solid squad. But I would say they need to find other ways other than Cameron Boozer to score if they really want to make a run in
Mhm.
March. So
Yeah, and I agree with Evan, and maybe I'm being overly critical of Duke. It's just kind of it feels like you're when you're playing basketball and there's a guy who he's getting all layups and you look up and he's like 20 or 25 and it's just like the quietest 20, 25 that you've seen, and that's kind of how like Duke feels like you check back in and oh they haven't lost yet and oh they beat this team like but they're doing it like quietly, if that makes sense. They haven't, and that also I think is just maybe an impact of what Arizona and Michigan have done. I think we're getting numb to teams, those tier teams beating ranked opponents by 20, and that hasn't been Duke, and that's okay. But I wouldn't put them on the same level. I think they're missing something on the wing. Like Boozer
Right.
is great, and I love, I struggle with his last name every time, so we're just gonna call him Patrick.
Um,
Down low, because he's an athletic freak. His size is
mhm,
huge, and he was really a problem in the Michigan State game. He's out there looking gigantic, like a different athlete compared to anyone else in that game. But yeah, Isaiah Evans is a fantastic shooter, and he has the capability to be a scorer. But I would like to see him be more aggressive, look for more plays off the dribble. Caleb Foster is a very, very good point guard. Caleb Foster is not the guy. You need someone on the perimeter where you feel confident that they can, beat guys off the dribble consistently. They can get you a bucket consistently. Right now, you're relying on Boozer, and it's easier to limit a good scoring big like that than a good scoring guard. You just have more options to play it. You can help down, you can stunt, you can double them. Where someone on the perimeter, you clear out and get them some sets. You can leave them on an island more. Like it's just tougher for a defense to really focus in on unless they have like elite defender out there. And so I think that's kind of what they're missing to take them to the next level. And who knows, maybe it is in Isaiah Evans to, become that a little bit more, be more aggressive off the dribble. Because he's a fantastic shooter and he's really dangerous off the catch and coming off ball screens. He hit um a big one late against Michigan State, where it looked like it could have been an illegal screen, but that's fine. But that was kind of what ended up putting Michigan State away. And so I think that's kind of what they're missing that takes them to that Arizona, UConn, and Michigan tier. But they definitely they're doing what they're supposed to.
mhm,
They're probably not favored to lose another game on their schedule as we enter ACC play. Maybe on the road at Louisville. Um, oh, they play Michigan on neutral site in
mhm.
February, late February. That's so
Yeah,
random.
yeah.
That's exciting. I don't know what that is for. That's super random, but that would be a fantastic game. But and and maybe they'll prove us wrong there. But I mean, yeah, so far Arkansas by single digits, Florida by
Mhm,
one at home, and Florida hasn't been great. Michigan State on the road is their best win. Um, and they only scored 66, and Michigan State's good defensively, but it's still like my concern for them is the offense if Boozer doesn't get going, and Boozer didn't get going for the whole first half. That's
mhm.
why they struggled so much there. But yeah.
Right, I think you guys touched upon it pretty much everything that I had too. I think, um, no, Boozer, he's playing like a player of the year, but to be overly reliant on him, I don't know what that outlook is. Maybe going on deeper in this season, but you guys pretty much said it. I mean, try, I've, tr- I've think I want to see more out of Isaiah Evans, like you said, Brandon, him being more on the ball.
Mhm.
But yeah, I think their front court's really good, but I think one of those guards has to step up and really separate themselves. And we haven't really seen that yet, but there's still a lot of season left, so who knows? Maybe we'll see. Yeah, moving on to another team, another top five team, Iowa State. They picked up a really, really impressive win last weekend over Purdue, at Purdue, and then this week they beat their in-state rival Iowa at home. Um, what are you guys' thoughts so far on Iowa State?
Yeah, they've been solid all around. I haven't really had a chance to really watch any of their games, but yeah, they're looking great. A good win against Purdue absolutely killed them,
Yeah.
which is insane. So that's definitely an eye opener. And then killed their rivals, didn't kill them, but just beat them at home. So yeah, they're looking like a good ball club, and I'm gonna have to do a little bit of research on them this next couple of weeks because they're looking pretty good.
Yeah, I was at Michigan State Duke during that Purdue game, so I have no clue what really happened there. I don't know if either you were watching. I remember being like for Purdue to
Mhm.
lose at home like that is just simply unheard of. I think it was probably their biggest home loss, maybe I
Yeah.
don't know in how long,
Mhm.
but yeah, I would be curious to see. Anthony, I don't know if you watched that.
Mhm.
I was at Michigan State Duke, so I did not see that game, and
Yeah.
so I don't know if I'm the best to talk about Iowa State because that's
Mhm.
the best they've looked all year.
I had I think I had seen a clip. I was kind of in and out of that game. I had like a split screen of Duke and then that Duke in that game. Um, they, I think it was more just Iowa State obviously played really good, but some of it was obviously to Purdue didn't have a great shooting night. I think I saw a clip.
Hmm.
Someone had like a great film breakdown, um, how Iowa State was guarding Purdue's screening action on the top of the key, and then like they would kind of leave that strong side corner open, so then Purdue was just they would leave like Lawyer open in the corner, so then Purdue was like giving it to him, and then just they couldn't really make it. So Purdue had a cold shooting night, but Iowa State, um, I think they're super well balanced. Joshua Jefferson, their four-man, he's looking like an All-American out there. He's really shooting the ball well. He's looking like a stretch big and guy that can really do it all. A guy that I've been really impressed with is Killian Torrey, freshman shooting guard next to Timmy Lipsey. He's been an excellent sidekick to him. Um, I saw I saw Ryan Hammer. He made a comparison of Killian Torrey to Davion Mitchell, a guy I like, one of
Mm,
Evan's favorite players.
yeah.
So
King's
that's a
legend.
yeah, that's a
King's
real big
legend, Davion
weapon.
Mitchell.
And then we know how good like Timmy Lipsey is. So that's like to add the guy a guy next to him. But yeah, they looked really good. They're super well coached. I'm interested to see how they'll play in Big 12 play because we know how good the Big 12 has looked so far. I think we'll learn a lot more about them so far in conference play, especially when they play games on the road. You know, they go to Kansas, they go to Arizona, they go to BYU and Baylor. So that'll be interesting to see. But they look really good so far. They're super well balanced.
Yeah, the Big 12 is it's it was, Houston hasn't looked as great as they were anticipated, but then Arizona and Iowa State have kind of replaced that. Kansas has been, I think actually Kansas has probably been a little bit better than people thought. And then it's just been, at least with the non-conference play, the Big 12 is like deeper than it was expected to be.
Right.
So that conference is going to be, some of the matchups we're going to get should be a lot of fun.
Right. I mean, even like in the bottom half of the Big 12, like you have like teams like no one really expected to do anything. Like Colorado's like 8-2 or something like that. They were like
No, yeah,
eight
there've
and
been a
zero,
lot of surprising
dude.
teams.
Yeah.
It's been cool.
So yeah.
Arizona State is up to 49 in the net, so I mean, that's a quad one game for teams now on the road and if on neutral site. And Colorado's a quad one now on the road. Like I don't think there's many road games that aren't quad one. I think UCF is as well.
Yeah.
TCU.
Yeah.
I think maybe just